Hi, it's Ori Krug, and today we're talking about what to do if you're thinking about leaving your relationship, but divorce is way too expensive. So, this is a really tough place to be because you're in this partnership, you both have committed to each other for life, and yet you feel extremely alone and isolated in your relationship because your partner is not understanding what you need. They're not getting it. Everything that you're asking for, it goes over their heads, and it just feels like they don't care, or maybe even that they're out to get you, right? That thought might have crossed your mind as well. And so this is such a painful place to be because it's like, if I'm going to feel this lonely and this alone in my partnership, where I'm supposed to feel like I am connected and together in this life with somebody forever, I might as well leave because it's causing me more pain and hurt and frustration than if I had just left already. Right. So there's a reason why this is happening, and honestly you can't blame it all on your partner, right? It's not just that your partner isn't listening or they don't get it, or you want to leave your job. I had a client who wanted to leave her job. She's just miserable going there every single day, and her husband was like, no, you can't do that. You need to bring in your income, you need to keep going. And he was just not seeing that she was so miserable at her job. And she was like, when we started to work together, she was like, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Even if we have to get divorced, I'm ready to step out this relationship so that I can build the life that I need. This is where she was at when we started. So for her, her partner wasn't respecting her feelings. He wasn't getting it. And again, it's not just what they're doing or not doing, because everything in a relationship is co-created. So yes, it's frustrating that they're not listening, but they're not listening is a reflection of what you're doing too. So this is not to blame one of you or either of you. It's neither of your faults, or we can say it's both of your faults or creation. So if your partner's not getting it or listening, or it's going over their heads, or they're like, no, you can't leave your job, right? They are having a response, or rather a reaction in their nervous system, to the point where their fear insecurities are taking over their ability to be present and connected and actually listen to you. Now, this is happening because either the information that you're presenting is very shocking, right? And that's fine. This is life. This happens. We can't be prepared for everything. And they haven't been able to process that. And so perhaps you presented something once and they're like, hell no, right? Another reason why they might be in, like, kicked into survival mode instead of listening to you and being present with you and responding in a way that you want, is the way that you present it, your tone, your body language, your own nervous system state, right? So if you're dysregulated, if you're coming into this relationship and saying, hey, I really want to spend more time with you, I want us to do more things together, and you're in a fight state, a sympathetic nervous system state, in fear, when you present that, then you're going to trigger that reaction in your partner as well. You can trigger the fight reaction in them, so they might argue back, like they might get defensive, like, I don't have time, I have so much to do, I feel like we're hanging out enough. Like this is fine. You're being really naggy, right? Something like that. Really rude, right? They might react in a flight response and just walk away. Or they might freeze. They might not say anything. They might not be able to respond to you because they're so, they're in a reaction where they can't be present. So these are just the things that are happening underneath the surface of the words, because the words are just words. Words are just 20% language. The rest is everything else that's happening. So it's not that your partner isn't listening to you, or they don't care, right? No one no one creates a lifetime partnership or commitment with somebody, or even, if you're not married, but decides to spend your life together as partners, because not because they don't care. That is something I am highly doubting in you. And if you're having those feelings like they don't care, then that's your trauma being triggered, because they absolutely care about you. If they didn't care, they'd be out the door, right? So they do care, but their nervous system is getting kicked up in a way that they can't meet you where you need them to. And it's not just because of them, but it's the way that you're presenting in this relationship too. So that client that I told you about before, we started working together. And of course, when we started working together, we already discovered that she has had 20 or so years of trauma stuck in her body, never processed, never really accessed, because she loved talking. And the talking was just blocking her ability to release this trauma. And once we started working through this trauma together, she realized how little confidence she had in herself to speak up and to assert her needs. And she actually realized, oh, I haven't even been asking for what I've been needing from my husband. Like, yeah, I said once maybe that I wanted to leave my job, but I didn't say it in a way that that was serious, that was powerful, that it was assertive and yet calm at the same time. So she realized she was hiding a lot of things. She wasn't speaking up in her relationship. She was always trying to keep the peace. And instead, they almost were divorced. They were going to get divorced, right? They were heading down that road. And she was pretty sure her husband was going to leave her. And then she started speaking up in a way that was assertive and powerful, yet calm. And all of a sudden, he understood her, and they started getting closer and got closer than they ever had before. So this is something that could have been so detrimental, right? If she didn't decide to work with me, if she didn't decide to heal her trauma, then she would have very much possibly been divorced right now. And she has a child too, right? She's a young kid. And they could have been split right now for something that was so easily worked on. I'm not saying that it's easy to release your trauma, but it doesn't have to be so hard and heavy or take a long time. So before we were even done working together, she was already speaking up, and she left her job and started her own business, and is being supported by her family and by her husband and her other family members with this as well. And though it's profound work, it doesn't have to take so much time, and it doesn't have to be hard. So that could have been absolutely devastational. Is that a word? I don't know. But when you think about the emotional and financial devastation of divorce, they could have gone through with that when they really didn't need to, and now they are doing better than ever before. So the thing is, you don't have to think about divorce. You don't have to think about leaving your partner unless you've tried literally everything you could do. That doesn't mean couples counseling, right? Most couples think that that couples therapy is a last resort, when really it doesn't really help most of the time, because talking about your issues isn't going to change them. You're accessing a different part of the brain through talking than you actually need to access to release your traumas that are co-creating these negative patterns in your relationship. And until you access and release your trauma and teach your body and learn in your body a different way of behaving and acting, things will not change in your relationship. So you can do this even if your partner doesn't, and still transform your relationship. And you don't have to be faced with so much devastation of the dollars and the costs of how much it'll get to split up from your partner and get divorced. And you don't have to deal with a bunch of lawyers and all that either. It's just messy. And it's most of the time, it's not necessary. So if you're interested in learning what you need to do and how you specifically, you with your body, your unique body, can heal your trauma and learn a new way of being, learn new ways of behaving in your relationship so that your partner does respect, listen, love, and care about you, although I know they already do love and care about you, but so that you can feel it and really believe it, so that you can ask for what you need and not feel lonely any longer in your relationship, then please book an obligation-free and free relationship review with me or my team. We will create a map for you on exactly the steps that you need to take in order to heal your trauma and create a lasting, loving relationship with your partner so that you don't have to face that emotional and financial devastation of divorce, right? So let's save you the money, the grief, and the frustration of even having to think about splitting, separating, or divorcing your partner. So you can click on the link to the side above or below, and we will see you there. Bye.